The Dane and Derek Show is an uncensored, unfiltered podcast. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hey everybody, welcome back to this super secret surprise episode and finale of the Dane and Derek Show, the premiere podcast where two friends keep in touch and talk a whole lot about tabletop RPGs sometimes.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yep. My name is Derek, and I'm a writer, director, and with me as always is my good friend. You know his name, Dane.
Wow, that was awesome. Okay, all right. Maybe I'm just a geek, but I was not ready for that rhyme, and I'm fucking pleased. I continue to be Dane. Definitely not a clone that he keeps in a closet, who he brought out for this episode. Callback. Sorry.
Yeah. Previously
I write.
on.
I write. I do podcasts. I play music. I study and get ready to go to law school. Did I forget anything? I'm in a punchy kind of weird mood, but I'm excited. Maybe it's just the fact that it's the end of the season. It's the finale. It's the bonus episode.
Yeah.
Very exciting. I'm just feeling it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we did it. We did a year of podcasting. I mean, technically a little over a year, which we've alluded to that we did like 7 episodes before we put out our first one, but yeah, we did a year of episodes where we only missed 2 weeks, and that was because there was 1 week where I think both of us were just really tired and needed a break, and 1 week I literally was on vacation and forgot to edit the episode before I left. And you know,
No doubt.
it worked out. We're here. It wasn't the end of the world,
No.
contrary to what uh, influencer culture teaches us. If you miss an upload, um,
Yeah.
yeah, man, we did it. Last week we talked a lot about just like reminiscing about the show, how it came together,
Mhm.
like why we do the show still, and our intentions with the show. And this year we thought or this not this year, this episode we thought we'd talk a little bit more about the future of the show because we've talked about it on the last few episodes. We are doing a season 2 next year, uh, and yeah, I mean, like right off the bat, Dane, season 2, thoughts, feelings?
I am excited because we have a year under our belt, and like we have a better gauge of like things that like work and things that don't work as well, and like more of like looking back, like I was as we were talking last week, I've got more ideas in my head of like, man, I'd like to do more of those. And like this was really fun, but I don't know how much it worked, right? Like the magic episodes were awesome for us, but I don't know how much they work, right? Because
Yeah.
they they like that would work if we were doing a YouTube thing, you know.
Yeah, if we ever do like a live stream, that would be a
Definitely.
great segment,
Definitely.
but doesn't work if it's just audio.
Yep. But like that's the thing, like that's still good about this, and this is like a thing I don't want to stop doing or trying or whatnot, is like the thing that this is it's you and I hanging out, right? Like
Yeah.
it's you and me hanging out, making a creative thing because that's what you and I do, right? That's what we've done since we were 14, 15-ish, right? Um
Mhm.
and so sometimes things don't work. Sometimes they're an experiment. Sometimes we are just, you know, talking, and that's awesome. And I don't really want that to change. Um, so like fully expect us to take a stab at something else this year that may not work in an audio medium. Like, oops,
Yeah.
but also like I would love to do some more quote unquote research episodes because those were fun. And like maybe a few more like topical episodes, right? Like it might be fun to like here's an idea. This might be part of what this episode is you and I throwing ideas at each other and
Yeah.
hastily writing them down. What if you and I go see a movie on the same day, roughly the same time, the moment we get home, we hop on and record and talk about it.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Um, uh, and here's like one thing that can I spoil this?
Yeah, go for it.
Guests. We're doing
Yes, yes,
guests.
yes. We're gonna do guests. That's like the big change that we're gonna do. We're gonna bring some folks on. I've been talking to some peeps,
Mhm.
and we're pretty excited. That I think is the biggest change that I want. That I am so excited for is guests.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to like have more conversations with people because here's like the thing, like if we're talking about this as like an evolution continuation of what we used to do in high school, yeah, it was a lot of you and me, but it wasn't only you and me,
Correct.
you know. And
Yeah.
there's some people who I'd really love to have these sorts of conversations with again. And that's really exciting. So like that's probably the biggest change. Um
Yeah.
biggest new thing. Um but yeah, there's also like there's twists and turns that we're not going to really see coming, right?
Yep.
Here's one thing that sounds sort of funny that I'm really looking forward to is um continuing to have this when I'm in school because that's
Yeah.
going to happen over the next year to me. And that's going to change my life in a really big way, but I'm happy that I don't think this is going to change. I mean, I think it might have to change like from a scheduling perspective and timing wise, but like I'm not stopping doing this. Um
Yeah.
and so yeah, like stuff like that. I'm really excited for. I'm also excited that we have like I was looking back at our like quote unquote back catalog and I'm like, you know, we've done a lot and we've also done nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Like you know, like we haven't done a strict Lord of the Rings episode yet.
Yeah, I don't know how we missed
Like we
that.
haven't. Like we just
Yeah.
haven't. And I'm like, all right, so that's a three-parter. Dope. That's coming.
Yeah.
You know, like and you know, like you're out in LA and my partner Gracie, her family's out in LA. So like I get out to LA most years now.
Mhm.
Um and so I think 2020 was like the first year in almost 5 or 6 years that I hadn't been. Um
Yeah,
but that means that you and I will probably we get to do another live, you know, in person episode.
exactly.
You
That's
know,
gonna
like
be fun.
that's going to be blast and you know, like this is way far in the future, but like I think we're gonna get new art from Jen again at the end of next year. That's gonna be fun, I'm sure. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah.
right, like I there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know what else to say, but like in adult life, there's a lot of there's a lot of mechanisms built in that so easily can keep you from the people you care about. Um And like we talked about last week, I feel like you and I have harnessed one of those methods to get around it.
Yeah.
And there's something really fun about that. Almost like we're getting away with something
Yeah, I mean,
or
we
like we're
are gaming
cheating
the
somehow.
system. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we have
And
gamed the system. We've found a way among a world where everyone's like, "You gotta have a podcast. You gotta sacrifice your social life to get ahead. You gotta work. You gotta hustle." We were like, "Fuck that. We're gonna make a podcast where we just talk." And people are like, like figurative people in this imagination, in this whatever I'm describing. They're like, what kind of credibility do you have? You two aren't famous to have a
mhm,
podcast. And we're like, we don't need to be famous. So then how are you going to make money with sponsorships? We don't need to make money with sponsorships. So then why are you
exactly.
doing a podcast? Because we want to talk to each other. What?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It sounds kind of ridiculous, but you know,
Yeah.
for folks like us, it's part of how that works, you know. We've
Yeah.
talked about hustle culture and how infectious in a bad way it can be, you know, and you get
Yes.
I'm just looking forward to more fighting it, you know, sticking it.
Yeah. I've mentioned it a few times, I think, but this podcast has become a really fun space to
Mhm.
hang out with you. And I think that that's something that I'm really looking forward to having again next year and to continue growing that because we've already begun, like talking to people and getting things lined up for next year. And
Mhm.
it's exciting. Like I am genuinely excited to record more and hang out more and talk more. And it's like I can get I like this podcast guarantees that I will have at least a handful of hours every month where I will chill with people I care about. And that's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
That's like the best of both worlds. You get to make something with your friends, and and what's even crazier is you and I get to do this show and other people listen to the show.
Mhm.
And other people get to hang out with us as a result, which, like something I would love to do next year. Maybe this will probably be great for whenever you visit LA. But we do like a live stream on Twitch, and
Huh.
maybe we do a charity stream or something, or we, I don't know. It sounds ridiculous considering that we're such a tiny podcast, but it'd be so much fun to do like a almost like a house show, you know?
Yeah, here's the thing, I would love to do that because for most of 2020, my roommate Kristen and I streamed, um, her playing Dark Souls and then me playing Demon's Souls,
Yo.
and we streamed for, like, 5 people because we just wanted our friends to hang out, and
Yeah.
it was a space in which to be with these people, and that was all it needed to be, and so, yeah, that sounds great, you know?
Yeah. A house show, for some reason, the idea of having like an audience that can ask us questions or, you know, I don't know, make sounds at us, whether it's laughing or booing or heckling. I don't know. That sounds entertaining to me. Uh, um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in some ways we figured out the show, and in other ways we haven't figured out the show, and
Oh, yeah.
that's really great. Like I know for me on a technical end, like there's a period of episodes where I can actually probably just look it up, where I overdid the audio processing on our voices,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't sound great.
Which ones were
Um,
those again?
it's episodes, uh, I wanna say it's episodes it's episodes like, uh, like like 36 through like 44 or something like that. I basically like ran all these like presets on our voices, and it like we sound really robotic,
I
which
think I remember those, yeah.
I've since walked back because I learned that we really don't need that much EQ. um, like, for those that are curious, you're panned to the left 30 and I'm panned to the right 30. I put us
Mhm.
at negative 16 LUFS, which is a podcast standard for levels. And then I do compressor EQ flat, that preset. And then I cut some tweaks, and occasionally I de-reverb and denoise us if it's really bad. But because we, record with MP3s, there's not much I can really do with the audio, and we frankly don't need to do much. It's not like it just needs to be a pleasant listening experience that's loud enough on public transit. That's sort of my criteria. If I can listen to this show in a laundry room at full blast, then I've done my job. And I've tested that. I have gone and checked the mix in a laundromat.
Smart. Real
um,
smart.
it's like next to the car test, it's my second favorite test.
My test is the coffee shop test.
Yeah.
If I can if if while I'm editing, I can still, like, process, then, like, the audio is sitting in a nice place.
Yeah.
But that aside, um, yeah, I love that idea that we don't have the show figured out. I kinda love that.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I don't and, like, here's a funny thing, I don't ever want it to have it figured out. Like, I don't want you to have to, like, struggle with editing forever or anything, but, like, um, yeah, I don't wanna figure this out in that way, like, where
Yeah.
it's just like, "And we've sat down, bing, bang, boom, great." Like, I don't want to get to a place in which everything is so on lock that we're not trying anything,
Yes.
or it feels automatic
Yeah.
somehow. Um,
Yeah. I don't think we've run I think we've run into the slog of, "Oh, yeah, we gotta get another episode in," but we've never run into the slog of, "Why are we doing this episode?" You
exactly.
know?
No.
Like, we understand that we locked ourselves into doing it weekly, and we were like, "Okay, we need to we do our best to stay on top of that," but we've never, like like, we've never been upset with why we're doing an episode. We
Mhm.
have re-recorded episodes that we thought were bad. We have done
Mhm.
that, but that I feel is a little bit different. It's more of a commitment to ourselves and our audience than it is to whether or not we're enjoying the show and the process. And I think
Yeah.
that's the space we've cultivated here is right. Is like it's a space where we can keep innovating and I think we do a pretty good job at checking in and evaluating whether or not we're innovating in the right ways or the wrong ways. Like, I think when
Yeah.
we tried to do morning records, we very quickly were like, nope, that's not a thing. And then when we tried to
Mm-mm.
do less than 30-minute episodes, we were very much like, no, it's too
Mm.
rushed. Just as much as
Yeah.
when we tried to do like 45-minute episodes, we were pushing it. We did,
Yeah.
however, find though that the occasional hour-long episode is okay. It's
Right,
just
right.
it's like these weird little things that we've figured out along the way. And I think that like, there's probably still more episode formats that we have yet to discover. Like,
Absolutely. And I think I think back to some of the episodes where we like where we came away being like, I know that this was really good. And this is like something we want to do again.
yeah.
Um and like one of the most interesting ones for me is like the Battle of the Bands episodes.
Yeah.
Cuz frankly, I'm not certain that's a good listen. Genuinely, I'm not. Like I'm like I don't know. Like I really don't know. But I loved doing it enough that I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
sorry, like that's not really what the show is. And so expect more of those.
Yeah.
Um
You wanna know who loved those episodes, by the way?
mm,
My mom.
oh really?
Yeah, she was surprised that we knew these bands.
Oh.
Shout out to you, mom. We love you. But
uh,
she was very intrigued and very, like, interested in it, and so she thought it made sense. Um, she was like "There really is no one else like Freddie Mercury."
no, there
And
just
I
isn't.
and that's the thing, right? It's like, it's funny, like, if you look at our demographics for our show, it's like, yes, predominantly the people that listen to our show are people in our age range who are our friends, but we do get people that are younger than us and people that are significantly older than us, like siblings and parents, and that's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yep. My little
Um
brother listens and my mom listens.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
wild. Your sister
Well,
follows our account, by the way.
she does. I don't think she listens though. If you
Uh,
are Liza, hey, love you. Sorry I underestimate. I don't know. But yeah, I know Owen listens. But like I don't know if this is gonna throw you off or not, but like Owen's going on 11. You
Really?
know? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Shout out to you, Owen. I remember,
You and I were friends before he was born.
yeah. Do you wanna know my first memory of Owen?
Yeah, yeah.
It was after a jazz band concert freshman year.
Oh, wow,
We were
yeah.
hanging out, because like, they make you go walk and sit in the audience and watch everybody else perform, obviously,
Right,
'cause
and
that's
then it
like
was
yeah, and all I remember was you were wearing, like, a gray shirt with, like, jeans and I think Converse, and you, like, ran over to where, like, your mom was, and you grabbed baby Owen with this big goofy smile on your face, and you ran him back over, like, just around the auditorium. I don't know
I
why.
did,
I
yeah.
just remember you and baby Owen running around the auditorium, and I was like I think it was like I was like, "Wow, like, what a guy."
Yeah,
Like,
because
what a brother.
we weren't close yet.
No, but I think
Um,
in a weird way that told me a lot about you.
yeah, I that was, like, a really interesting moment because, um, for people who don't really know, my brother was born a few months not that long after I had been I went into remission for cancer. So, like, for me, my little brother is and has always been this just utter spark of life at the end of hell. Um, and so that's always been special to me, you know.
Yeah.
And um, like my sister is also has like in so many ways gone through so much with me, and like that's my siblings are important to me is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I know that feels so lame to say in a way. Like
Eh,
I'm not saying it right, but like
yeah.
another time. But yeah, like that's how long you and I have known each other
I
is.
know.
But
That would
yeah,
actually be a
he's like
great topic, siblings.
yeah,
What were you gonna say about
yeah.
Owen?
He's gone from he's old enough to listen to podcasts now. Like
That's so wild to
isn't
me.
it? Isn't
I,
it?
like,
Yeah.
still think about, like, one time I came over for dinner, I think, and
Like he's in
Owen
a
and
he
I
was in a high chair, right? Like
that or like he had a booster, and I just remember Owen and I sat next to each other, and we were just, like, literally the only 2 kids at the table with, like, dousing our plate in ketchup.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
And he was like, I remember him laughing so much at that because he was
Mhm.
like, this was like junior year,
Yeah.
or like late sophomore. So he was like starting to talk and like really
Yeah.
doing stuff. But like, yeah, 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 yeah.
It was a
Um,
wild time.
yeah, I remember another time you and Ryan came over, um,
Oh, yeah.
and the three of us played with Owen. Um, I don't remember with what specifically, but no, 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 we weren't playing with anything. Do you know that game you can play with, like, little kids where, like, they just, you, like, sit them down and they try and crawl away from you and you, like, grab their little legs and you pull them back? Um, you, me, and Ryan I don't know if you remember this, but, like, you, me, and Ryan were, like, sitting in kind of like a triangle, and if he got away, he'd get grabbed by one of the others.
Oh,
Um,
goodness, that's
because
hilarious.
what we were doing is we were waiting for some other folk guys to come over. It was one of the very few times I ever got to host D&D at my place.
Yeah.
We were waiting for them to show up and you guys came early. I don't remember
Mhm.
why, but yeah. Wow. Were we supposed to be talking about
You
the
know,
next
well, I
year
think
of the
we got on the topic of
podcast?
listeners, and, you mentioned your brother, and it's we
Yeah,
haven't I'm surprised we haven't talked about our siblings on the show yet. Like, that's something we haven't done. It would be wild getting one of our siblings on. Jason, I'm looking
definitely.
at you.
Yeah,
I know you have a podcast, Jason, so you're old enough to have your own podcast. You can certainly be on our show. And I
definitely.
think he listens too. Uh,
But yeah, like it's definitely like a thing. I actually think I know why we haven't like talked about them is because like, you and I respect their privacy enough
yeah.
to not really want they don't need to be a topic, like,
No,
but
yeah.
they just come up like this, and that's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, like this is what the show is, right? Like,
Exactly.
and that's just gonna like keep happening.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm excited for, right? Like
Yeah.
I was I was talking, I don't remember with who recently, but like um I have realized I am wealthy and friends I've known for an extremely long time for the age I am.
Mhm.
You're one of them for sure. But like my friend Logan Bragdon, Will Cordell, my friend Nelson, who you also know.
Yep.
I have known Nelson almost as long as it is possible to know him. Um, and that is a rare thing. And it is difficult to keep up. And I am unbelievably grateful that I get to keep this one up along with others. And because
Yeah.
like it sounds funny, but like at the age we are now, we are still at the point in our lives where we have not met some of the people we are going to know for the majority of our life, right?
Mm. Yeah.
There's only so much longer that that's going to happen and all, but like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um but the interesting thing is there are milestones that happen that those people are never going to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's only a handful of friends I have who knew me before Owen was born that I'm still close with, right?
Mhm.
There's only so many people who, you know, you go to high school that you're close with afterwards,
Yeah.
if any. There are many people who just none, right? Um, and, like, I was I recently that sort of thing happened recently where Gracie was part of, something that happened in my sister's life. Again, try not to, like, bring too many people's lives into it, but, like, wherein, um, in thinking about that, I was like, "Wow," looking back on that, that's gonna be kind of important, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's special, and that's part of the reason this show, for me, is and continues to be such a, like, relaxing place in a sense, and, like, a restorative place, is
Yes.
because you and I have history like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? It's like I remember we both went into this thinking, yeah, well, we'll do this for a bit, and if we don't like it, we just won't do it anymore. Like no one's gonna miss it. And I think what I've realized is that if it were to end like that, I would miss it, and I'm pretty sure you would miss it as well.
Yeah, 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 you're like, "No one would miss it." I'm like, "I would miss it." Like,
Exactly. Yeah, we would both miss it, and that's why we would keep doing it, and
mhm,
that's kind of cool. Like like out of all the people I've like you're yeah, like to go back to milestones, yeah, you're one of those friends that was with me when I found out I got into film school. You were there.
yeah, I
You
was.
know, you were there outside in the freezing. You were the first person I told that I might be going to film school. And like like I hadn't even told my parents that I got a call from the college yet. You were the first one, and that's huge, right?
Yeah,
Like we were both there like when we both got into college, when you got like your scholarships, and when like all these really formative things, and even now, like because of the podcast, like in a way, like you're still there when we go through these things, and as a result, like it's super cool that
mhm,
like by the like there there's a timeline of this podcast where we're like freaking like 80,
yeah.
and we're still getting on the goddamn microphone once a fucking week because we know it's part of that routine, like
Mhm,
and it's like and that's gonna be great. It's gonna be great because at a certain point, after we've kind of felt like maybe looking forward isn't where we should be looking, looking towards the horizon, looking towards the sunset, we'll be able to look back and share like a wealth of friendship for however many episodes we do. And,
mhm.
this is like a modern equivalent of a photo album that you crack out at a family reunion or a friend reunion.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's an audio album,
yeah.
photo album, that's actually really good. Yeah.
Like people have 33 point whatever something hours as of like 3 weeks ago to listen to us talk. That's is the longest thing I've ever made. And this is the first series I've ever done that's getting a second season.
Oh, wow, is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Um, because like everything else has always gotten like a season in the middle, like not quite a second season, but not quite a first season. It's always somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that that's like really incredible to be thinking about. Like, wow, like we get to come back and we get to do it again and we get to have fun again.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And that's truly what I'm looking forward to next year is knowing that when we come back to start recording our next set of episodes, which, right now, um, we have a rough estimate of how many episodes we're gonna do and like what topics, what ideas, what things we want to try, what people we want to bring on. Um, but like we're gonna be recording a log of our time over what's gonna be a pretty crazy year for us. Like
Yep.
you're gonna be going to law school, and I'm kind of back in this interesting place with film again where I have a little bit more freedom to make what I want to make. And I've got and it, so it's like we're gonna be doing a lot of things next year. And that's not just in, and that's not talking about like, like this podcast or the other podcast that we're working on, right?
Right.
Like, like you've got other writing stuff and I've got other film stuff, and like I'm, trying other kinds of things and you're doing other kinds of things, and we're both playing tons of tabletop RPGs. Like we haven't even talked about all the games we're gonna be playing next year, because I know you're working on a big game, and you know
Yep.
I'm actually might be running a home game again as well, and that's like pretty exciting. Like, man, like I don't know, like when it comes to New Year's, like I always take the time to think about what I want to accomplish over the next year. That's something that I've always really, really valued. But this is the first year where I have a little bit of time, first year in a long time, where I have a little bit of time to kind of look ahead and reflect on the year that has passed. Normally, by the time I get to the new year, I'm like, okay, let me carry over my unfinished goals from the previous year. Whereas this year, I did everything for the most part, that I wanted to do. And for the
Yeah.
first time, like, I'm like, wow, I've got 2 weeks to think about like what I want to do versus 24 hours. Like, I like, there's a level of clarity that comes from where we are at when we do the things when we achieve our intentions. And I think that I'd much rather like I'm trying to shift away from saying goals or landmarks or whatever, because like it can be a bit too hustly.
Mhm.
I like the idea of intentions. Like, what kind of intentions do you have for yourself in the next year? And like, I guess that we're kind of at time, but I think that maybe that's a way we wrap up this episode, unless you had a nice zinger. Uh,
No.
so yeah, like intentions for next year, like on the show, outside of the show, like what are just some general feelings and vibes? And if you want, I can go first.
Yeah, give me a second.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I think about this a lot. um, but like, some intentions I have for the new year are to really focus on everything outside of my art and my
Mhm.
craft. I spent a long time really just doubling down on, if I put more time into my craft, it's going to pay off one day. And this was the year, for the first time, I think, in a very, very long time, where it really felt like, wow, it paid off. And I need to focus. It's not that I need to focus less on it, but I don't need to spend as much time on it, because like any like thing you're doing, if you overwork a muscle, you're gonna injure it eventually.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, now that I'm gonna focus on that, what are other things I want to be focusing on? What are other things I want to intend to do? Like next year, I intend to develop like a little bit more of like a little bit more of that list of non-negotiables. Kind of like early on when we were talking about like how like for you, excuse me, like a 45-minute shower and a workout are like non-negotiables. Like I want to have a few more of those. And I generally want next year to be, if this year was like stuffing myself with too much pie and then realizing that like I could have had like that, like had I waited for the next course, I could have had like a sandwich I really wanted. I don't know. Um, it makes sense because I prefer to eat savory things for dessert. Um,
Mm.
I I could have done a couple. I could have enjoyed myself a little bit more. I could have allowed myself to be happier. And I think that that's something next year I really want to focus on, is giving myself the space to just enjoy what I'm doing, because I very much can get really head down and just work. And sometimes I do forget to look up and watch life, you know? Um, because the last thing I want to do is miss it. And um, yeah, so it's a lot more focusing on being more introspective next year, and focusing a lot more on understanding that things are just going to move, they're going to flow. and that I just need to keep riding the wave instead of trying to make a current, you know? So, those are my intentions for the new year. What about you, man?
Hmm.
Or do you still need a couple minutes? Because I can keep vamping.
No, I'm good. I think my I think I have 2 major intentions.
Okay.
One is to take steps towards a more, for lack of a better term, stable life. Um, in the sense of like, and I'm talking in a much more like career centered way, um,
Mhm.
which I think makes sense with the whole law school thing. Like, I am looking to move towards a situation in my life where I'm like, here's the thing I do with my day, and I'm challenged and I work hard and I take on challenges basically. Um, and maybe more importantly than that, there's the big intention of I want to get down to bare bones. I have a lot of I often have a sense that I'm like, what am I even doing? Like I have so much like random threads going on and I would like to clear those out
Yeah.
and, be doing I want to be doing a few things very well.
Yes.
And those things are not all creative, they're not all professional, they're not all personal. But I feel like I don't do these things the way I would like to be doing them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think my intention for this next year is to, in a sense, get down to the bare bones and build back up
Yeah.
and really be clear and intentional about what these things are, you know?
Yeah. Intentionality, that is something that I've been learning over the last year. And I think, yeah, I think if you boil down what I said, yeah, it comes down a lot to intentions as well. Because it's easy to follow threads, but if you keep following threads, you're just going to have a bunch of cool strings, not a nice scarf.
Mhm.
That's great though, man. I'm really glad. I'm really happy for you and for myself and for everything.
Same.
Um, yeah, man, this is great. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of like in this weird, like slightly not quite zoned out, but you've got me thinking in like big ways, and I'm just kind of like oddly not quite awestruck, but just like whoa, that's where I'm at. Like right, we're like this is like a show. I should say something, but I'm like definitely in like a whoa headspace.
hey, I mean, with the Matrix 4 coming out and all of our talks about Ma, being in a whoa headspace is okay.
Oh God, I forgot. There's another one coming. Ugh.
Yeah. But, I think it's these things that I really enjoy about the show, these topics, these things we talk about and moments that like that. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like every now and then I get the opportunity to say big things, and this was one of them. I feel like usually you're the one saying big things, and you've definitely done that consistently. I can literally see it in the waveforms. Like I used to like tell myself like, yeah, all I gotta do is say the right thing to get Dane to go off on a topic, and we're good for an episode. Because sometimes that's all I can think of is just the question. I can't think of the actual thing. um, but it works, and I'm really excited that we're gonna get another year of this, and um, that we still get to just socialize and talk, and hopefully, like I don't know. I'm really excited for next year. And we have some big episode ideas, big life changes, and a lot of big things. But at the same time, it this feels like I don't know. steady as she goes.
Mhm.
It feels good.
Yeah. Okay, but before we go, when can people expect us back? Because we are
Yeah.
taking a break.
Yes, we are taking a 4-week break, so you can expect episodes to return on January 19th, 2022.
Jesus, that's a year.
Yep, that is a year. My brother will be turning 22 that year, and we'll be
Well,
turning.
oh,
Well, you'll be turning 26,
yeah.
and I'll be turning 27. I'm an old boy. Uh, but yeah, January 19th, 2022. Until then, you can listen to our entire log over the last year, and you can check out our brand new art by Jen Zemke, who did some incredible art for our second season.
It's so fucking fun. I love it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Um,
We really went off the rails for it, and it was well worth going off the rails.
yeah.
Also, just a huge shift. Like, like, like in our first piece of art, like I got the beanie and the long hair, and you don't have any scruff. And this one, you've got
Mhm.
the beard and the long hair, and I'm the one that's clean shaven and has short hair,
Yeah.
which is pretty wild.
For my hair's getting real long.
It
I will
is?
just say that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And
goodness.
I am growing it. I have been growing it out for months now.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and I don't see myself stopping because it's. I don't know. I literally haven't had hair this long since before chemotherapy. So
Oh
I'm
my
just like,
God, it's that long. It's
uh,
like early Dane hair when I first met you.
yeah, close. The sides
Wow.
and back haven't grown out all that far yet, so it's yeah,
But you
yeah.
got those emo bangs?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Wow.
It's I have to brush it out of my eyes. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
That's wild. But yeah, go check out Dane's new hair in our art on our Instagram or the icon you just downloaded when you see this episode. Literally, by the end of this, we're gonna have a great visual archive of us in funny poses with wild changes in hair and age. Just like
Excellent.
imagine when we're 80 and we're like just like with canes with their swords. I don't know.
I'm into it. I'm about it. I am about it.
Yeah,
But thanks to
yeah,
everyone who's been listening. You're the best. We
yeah.
love you to pieces.
We do.
Um and we'll see you soon.
Yes, very soon, very soon. And if you really miss us, you can check out Dane's writing on his website. You can check out Dane's podcast, Diceology. You can check out my podcast, Dice and Pizza. You can read Dane's Substack, or you can watch some of my movies on my website. Uh, we're gonna have links below in the description. And yeah, I think yeah,
That's the thing.
that's it. Happy New
That's
Year, everyone.
yeah.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know how to say goodbye.
I don't know how to say goodbye either. Like,
Um
well,
um
shit.
bye bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.